Pristine rationality was the rule for Joe. His decorated career as a scientist displayed the worth of knowing that the world had rules that, while often misunderstood, were always followed. The speed of light is constant, time marches forward, the sky is blue, and dogs talk. Wait a moment. One of these isn't like the others. Give me a second, I need to go check in on Joe. Just before the setting sun, a middle-aged, raven-haired fellow meticulously buttoned his suit. He had a hot date, and as is his personal policy, Joe dressed to impress. Sitting by Joe's side was his dashing companion, a straight-laced German shepherd standing at attention. Joe began to ramble to his dog, as most pet owners seem fond of doing. Listen, Newton, I'm really going to need you to quiet down for this date. If you talk, I'm just going to ignore you. The immaculate voice of Joe's furry companion rang out. Ha! So you do think I can talk? If you were crazy, you wouldn't need to worry about your date hearing me, now would you? The smallest bit of agitation crept into the corners of Joe's smile as he replied. Not at all. You are a dog, and you can't talk. I'm hoping my subconscious will pay attention so I can give my lovely date my undivided attention. If I weren't so afraid of being taken away from you, I might show the world just how chatty I can be. The drooping frame of Newton seemed to have an effect on Joe. He stooped a little himself, giving Newton a scratch on the head before he finished his preparations. Joe reminded himself that dogs were quite attentive. His madness was affecting his precious companion. It seems like Joe's gone mad. What a shame. For him. Should be fun to watch, though. Speaking of fun, it seems Joe is bringing Newton along for the date. His new acquaintance must be quite the dog lover, because she simply insisted Newton be brought along. How exciting. Julia sheepishly peeped through the blinds of her front window as her date strolled towards the front door. Dinner at home on a first date. This woman really is peculiar. She hastily opens the door for Joe and Newton before giving a hearty hello.
Oh, thanks so much for coming. And I see you brought your dog.
Her excited voice seemed to betray something strange. Joe gave a polite smile, silently reminding himself to maintain his composure. First impressions are important, he thought to himself, and he was going to make a good one. With a collected voice, Joe replied, Thanks for having me. I have to say, your home is almost as beautiful as you are. With a few more good-natured exchanges, Joe was quickly ushered to the dining room table. The nervous energy of Julia seemed to rub off on the golden retriever that was trailing behind her. Newton seemed to perk up a little higher than usual at the sight of this new friend.
I hope you don't mind LeBrune. She's a bit shy. I'll let her introduce herself while I go get dinner.
Julia quickly made her way into the kitchen before Joe could respond. Hey, she's pretty cute, Newton uttered in a hushed tone. At this, the retriever perked up her head. The strained creases that formed on Joe's forehead grew more distinct. Dogs can't talk. Let them get acquainted. Keep your head, Joe reminded himself. Newton slowly inched closer, one paw step at a time. As he approached, he lowered his head with anticipation. With a tentative look, Newton whispered a greeting, despite the dagger eyes that marred Joe's face. Psst. Can you talk? Newton was met with silence for a moment. Emboldened by the mundane nature of his new companion, Newton decided to speak his mind with another whisper. You look beautiful. At this, LeBrune jumped and yelped.
Oh my!
Oh, great, now there are two of them. Joe worked hard to contain his surprise, the butterflies in his stomach threatening to break his composure. The strain grew even worse at the rapid return of his date.
Hey, is everything all right in here?
Julia said in a voice that seemed a little too excited as she sprung out from behind the doorway. Dogs can't talk. The delusion is spreading. I'm doomed, Joe thought. Her retriever was merely startled by Newton and yelped. The machinations of my unbound mind. are playing tricks on me. A simple nervous yelp, distorted into human speech by my broken subconscious. I'm doomed. Oh, I think LeBrun was a little startled by Newton. Seems like he got a little too friendly. Despite the warm-natured tone of his voice, a bit of irritation managed to slip through in his eyes. Newton was unfettered, despite Joe's obvious disapproval. It seems men really are dogs when it comes to women. Not that Newton could be a called man.
I could have sworn I heard a whisper or two while I was gone.
Something about the way Julia said that betrayed a strange sort of madness. Newton's tail began to wag nervously. Joe's mind raced. I didn't utter a word. I was sure of it. Could she have? No, that's impossible. Even if Newton did, she wouldn't have been able to hear him from the kitchen unless she was crouched like a madwoman at the doorway. No, that's ridiculous. Why am I even thinking about it? This is stupid. Oh, I'm afraid not. Perhaps you heard a grumble or two from Newton, Joe said with a good-natured smile. Julia began to go back into the kitchen, chatting as she went.
Is Newton a big talker?
Joe could feel a little sweat beginning to form. A talking dog? Julia came back out with 2 plates of food. The contents of the meal didn't register in Joe's mind. It was all becoming a little much for him. That nervous glint in Julia's eyes began to grow as she placed the meals on the table.
Wouldn't that be funny, a talking dog?
Julia said as she moved. Joe looked at Newton at the edge of his rope, needing to know, dying to know. Hey, Newton, you hear that, boy? A talking dog. What a novel idea. Well, speak up, champ. Say hi. Newton's wagging tail stopped in a heartbeat. If a dog could sweat, Newton would be a fountain. Only silence. Julia laughed haphazardly, playing along as she spoke to LeBrun.
Hear that, girl? A talking dog. Go on, say hi. Pretty please?
Joe and Julia sat there staring. Tick, tock, staring. Maddeningly, staring. Desperately, staring. Newton couldn't take it anymore. I can talk! LeBrun chimed in.
You can talk!
Julia and Joe looked at each other's flabbergasted faces. Dogs can talk!